Hey guys, Balkan here. You know something? The Nintendo Entertainment System has come a long way. Ever since its release in the mid-80s, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES as forever called, has become one of the greatest video game consoles of all time. And for many of us, myself included, was one of the first game consoles we ever played. And it had one hell of a run, spawning over 700 games. And today, I'm counting down the best of the best. Now keep in mind, this is my opinion, and these are just my personal favorite NES games. If you have a favorite NES game, let me know in the comments down below. And with that said, let's get started. I really freaking hate that dog, but his game does deserve to be on the list. I mean, come on, it was one of the console's first games, and for its first outing, the NES sure did come out strong. Duck Hunt may be simple, you just point the gun and shoot, but it's a charming little game. In fact, it was the very first game I ever played, and I have a lot of great memories playing with my aunt and my younger brother. And on a surprising note, the dog actually made it into Smash Brothers of all things. But yeah, it might just be my nostalgia, but I think Duck Hunt deserves a chance. The game anyway. As for the dog, with the reputation that movie-based games have on the NES, Batman succeeds where many have failed. The game's style really does reflect that of The Dark Knight, with its dark palette cover scheme, and the music is just amazing. The gameplay is just addicting as well. Along with your regular punch, you also have an assortment of bat weapons, and a wall jump that'll have Ninja Gaiden jealous. The game does offer a bit of challenge, and if you make it to Joker and actually beat him, then you deserve a medal. With all these factors in mind, I believe that Batman is definitely the best movie licensed game on the NES, and it's definitely worthy of being number 9. The Metroid franchise hasn't had as much love as it deserves, but with the upcoming release of Metroid Prime 4, I think the franchise has a bright future. But that wouldn't be the case if it wasn't for the game that started it all. The original Metroid is a classic, by pure definition. The design and graphics give off an eerie feel of being alone in space, and the music is phenomenal for its time. The gameplay is fantastic as well. The game plays like a maze while upgrading your weapons and armor as you go, along with acquiring special abilities such as the screw attack. The game offers a great challenge as well. Finding your way through the game is hard enough, and if you make it to the end, you'll find one of the biggest shocks in video game history. All in all, Metroid is a fantastic game and sits nicely here at number 8. With all the different sports games on the Nintendo Entertainment System, Punch-Out stands out in its own right as one of the best of the best. What started out as a simple little boxing game evolved into one of the greatest sports games ever made. Punch-Out, of course, is a boxing game with a wide and colorful cast, from Glass Joe to King Hippo and Mike Tyson himself. Just getting to Mike is a big challenge, and if you're able to beat him, then you have truly accomplished something. The music is great as well, and the remake which you're listening to right now sounds like it can go in a montage from Rocky. There were a few different sequels to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but recently, Little Mac made a dramatic return in that of Smash Brothers. And now with the Nintendo Switch and ARMS out, I think this boxer isn't done in the ring just yet. This is one game that sure did rise up to the challenge of its rivals. Before Destiny, Call of Duty, and Halo, there was Contra. This game defines the shooter genre. The controls in this game are fantastic. Being able to shoot in any direction and even having a 3D perspective, the gameplay is very smooth and easy to learn. It also has a great challenging factor, as you only have one hit per life. However, there's an infamous code that gives you 30 lives right off the bat, and it still offers a great challenging experience. Not to mention it has one of the best soundtracks on the list. However, the game is a little short, and even though the challenge factor does add to it, it does knock it down a few pegs. But hey, this is still a fantastic game. It definitely deserves a spot on the list, and the competition only gets tougher from here. Gotta love that pink gumball. For the second game in Kirby series, Kirby's Adventure comes out strong, introducing some of the franchise's staples, mainly the copy abilities. When Kirby absorbs the enemy, he can copy their abilities and make them his own. This made for some great gameplay mechanics and became a staple of the franchise. As for the game itself, it's a colorful adventure tale. Even on some of my darker days, putting on this game always put a smile on my face. The gameplay is also fantastic. The controls are nice and smooth, and none of the copy abilities are the same. They're all unique and play great. And the soundtrack itself is just great. I love each one of these tracks, and hearing them always puts a smile on my face. Since this game's release, Kirby has become one of Nintendo's juggernauts, and has even become my main in Smash Bros. I see this gumball has come a long way, and I'm looking forward to see what Nintendo does with him in the future. Like Metroid, Castlevania is a franchise that has not gotten a lot of attention lately. And it really is a shame, because the Castlevania trilogy is a great set of games, and the original Castlevania is no exception. The gameplay, while challenging, plays smooth and the music is just fantastic. And while I have made it to Dracula, beating him is a total nightmare, which pretty much sums the game up. And this is where the game truly shines. The architecture and level design is amazing. But yeah, Castlevania is a great game, and my go-to Halloween classic. This is where things got close. But at number 3, we have Mega Man 2. Just like Castlevania and Metroid, Mega Man has seen very little action these days, which is a real shame because I freaking love every one of Mega Man's games, this one being my absolute favorite of all. The music is phenomenal. I have never heard an NES track better than this one. Once you defeat the Robot Master at the end of each stage, Mega Man gets a special weapon, which he can then use for the rest of the game. This was a fantastic idea, and reminds me a lot of Kirby. Speaking of which, the gameplay is phenomenal. I have never had a better experience playing an NES game. When it comes to controls, they have never been smoother for me. The level design is amazing as well. Each stage has its own unique personality, sort of like the Robot Masters that they host. Speaking of which, I love the Robot Masters in this game, and in my opinion, it has the best cast out of all the Mega Man games. Each individual weapon plays great, and every level is fantastic. This game was so close to being number 1, and just barely missed the mark. But coming in at number 2 is The Legend of Zelda. What began as a simple NES game spawned Nintendo's greatest franchise, holding some of my all-time favorite games. The Legend of Zelda is a near masterpiece. The gameplay is amazing. The original Legend of Zelda, while not the masterpiece that it's claimed to be, is still a phenomenal game. The game plays extraordinarily well. The items you collect and the weapons you acquire all play fantastic. And while it has a smaller soundtrack than most of the games on the list, the music is still great. And it truly does give off that adventurous feeling. All in all, Legend of Zelda is a phenomenal game and was very close to being number 1. But there's still one more game on this list. And before we get to it, let's recap. Number 10, Duck Hunt. Number 9, Batman. Number 8, Metroid. Number 7, Punch-Out. Number 6, Contra. Number 5, Kirby's Adventure. Number 4, Contra. Number 3, Mega Man 2. And number 2, The Legend of Zelda. Come on, don't tell me you didn't see this coming. Of course Mario was going to be number 1. But this game sure did have some competition. And despite it all, this is still my favorite NES game. The last in the Mario trilogy, Mario 3 went out with a bang. The level design, music, gameplay, everything is nearly perfect in this game. Being able to pick any Mario level and play it at any time, along with being able to store items for future use, this was a revolutionary feature, and it would come on to play in many other Mario games. But as for the game itself, it's brilliant. Every level plays perfectly, and the controls are smooth as ever. And this game possibly has my favorite power-up lineup of any Mario game, especially the Tanuki suit. I could go on for hours of how great this game is, but I'll just conclude with this. Each one of these games on the list has a special meaning for me, and Mario definitely takes the number 1 spot. I'm Balkan, thanks for watching.